for us in the return of our Silverliner IV fleet. We have completed now the point-by-point inspections of our 223 Silverliner IV regional rail trains ahead of the deadline set by the Federal Railroad Administration by hours, essentially, by today. In fact, the crews are ready to finish the final car here with us in just a few minutes. And that means we can now turn our focus to finishing up repairs on the cars that have already been inspected and installing the thermal detection circuitry ahead of that upcoming deadline. Each day we now expect to return up to 5 cars to revenue service. It'll take a little time, but that's going to gradually add up to create more capacity for our customers and make a significant improvement in reliability. This has been an extremely difficult time for our customers, and I'll not make any promises about service improvement that we cannot keep. The reason I'm confident now that we'll able to consistently return cars slowly but surely to deliver better service is because of the people who are standing around me here today. Our rail equipment, engineering, and maintenance employees have worked around the clock for weeks now to get us to this important milestone. I want to thank them specifically for all the hard work that they have done and will continue to do moving forward. I want to particularly thank the unions that have represented these folks and have worked with us hand in hand throughout this process. The IBEW, TWU, the BRC, SMART, and IAM all have been instrumental in formulating the plan and executing the plan as we've moved through this process. This has been an undertaking unlike any other in my 35 years here at SEPTA. Every one of the 223 cars has been thoroughly inspected since October 1st. Repairs have been needed, and every repair, however minor, is being completed before any car returns to service. This is our new normal. We've learned a great deal from this process, and we're incorporating all facets of these enhanced inspections into our regular maintenance cycles. That will make this 50-year-old fleet safer and more reliable, and we hope it will give our customers assurance that we're operating a safe fleet. Again, I want to thank these employees for all their hard work. Not just the employees that are behind me, but everyone throughout SEPTA has been instrumental in making this a success. So again, thank you for your hard work and dedication. I also want to thank staff from the Federal Railroad Administration for their guidance and collaboration through this process. I'm confident that we will emerge a better SEPTA. We're already making progress on the final FRA requirements, which is primarily the installation of the high heat detection equipment. This is going to provide an added layer of protection, and it represents a significant safety enhancement. We'll meet the FRA's deadline of December 5th for completing that work, as there are already 67 cars completed and more getting done every day. I know these last few weeks have been extremely difficult for our regional rail riders, and I don't want to underscore the difficulties that those riders have had. It's been very difficult for them to plan their day, to get back and forth to appointments on time or to work on time. We know those disruptions have wreaked havoc on them. This week particularly has been rough. We reached a point in the process where we knew we had to put a push on to get to this deadline. We had to take a larger number of cars out than we had throughout the process as we moved to finish inspections. We ramped up that work on the repairs and installation of the high heat detectors as well. And since Monday, we've canceled almost 24 daily trips in advance on the airport line, Fox Chase, and Chestnut Hill West. We also had to cancel, unfortunately, trips other than those we had pre-planned. We tried to plan ahead and make those announcements ahead of time to give customers more assurance that the train they were waiting for was indeed scheduled and going to show up. We appreciate their patience, and we know their patience has worn pretty thin. They've had to put up with canceled trains, delays, pass-ups, and crowded rail cars. There are going to continue to be more challenges along the way as we wrap up all the work that's required of the order and make the repairs to the cars as we go. But we now see a path forward, a path to improvement each day. We're also going to be bringing in some reinforcements. This week, SEPTA signed an agreement with the Maryland Area Regional Commuter Rail System to lease 10 more coach cars. These cars will help add capacity and provide some relief to our customers. We're going to continue to explore the possibility of bringing more cars from other agencies to bolster our fleet. We've also now officially released our request for proposals to replace this fleet with the Silverliner IV fleet. So that request for proposals is out on the street, and we'll be working for that for the next few months to gather proposals and make an assessment to award a contract hopefully early next year. Again, I want to thank all the employees for their hard work. I want to thank our customers for giving us the patience that they have given us and the trust that we're going to put out a safe and reliable fleet. And I hope that we can again meet that need and take care of our customers going forward. So with that, I'll take questions.
How many trains are back in service today?
There are, so each day that number fluctuates. We've been as low as 87 cars in service to around 110 to 120. So it fluctuates day to day.
Is it safe to assume then that commuters are still going to be dealing with some overcrowded trains and cancellations as you work to get more cars back?
Yeah, we project it's probably going to take us at least another month as we build the fleet. So up to about 5 cars each day will come back, and but that's every day now until probably about mid-December is where we'll see just about the entire fleet back ready to go. Yeah, we can't take our foot off the gas now. I mean, this is a very significant milestone for us, but by no means is this a cause for celebration just yet. We have a lot more work to do, and it's going to take us about a month, as I said, to kind of get through the wire and the repairs, so we can get the fleet back to a more reliable system for our customers.
Scott, you know, these cars, they didn't become 50 years old overnight, right? Why wasn't there a process, say, 10 years ago, when they were 40, that maybe they need to start replacing some of these older cars?
Well, I mean, it's not for lack of vision that we knew that we were going to have to do this, but keep in mind, I mean, it's no secret that our funding has been historically low. But it's not that we didn't spend the money that we were given on good and sound projects. I mean, if you take Act 89 12 years ago, which was a 10-year solution 12 years ago, we spent that money on replacing bridges and vital infrastructure. We spent $350 million on positive train control to ensure we were running a safe railroad. So we made decisions as an organization over the last decade or more to trade this for that. And so now, whereas 10, 15 years ago, this fleet, nobody was thinking that this fleet was unreliable 10 or 15 years ago. But we knew that this day would come, this day of reckoning. But again, it takes large amounts of capital investment to replace a system like this. $2 billion to replace this fleet of 223 cars. And that's cars and infrastructure. So that's not a small number. Considering all the investment we've done on the infrastructure over the last decade.
How long will it take to replace the fleet once the contract is signed with the
So it takes about 5 to 6 years. I'll say 5 to 7, just to hedge a little bit, to start getting delivery of the first car, and then there's a schedule of cars that arrive throughout that process, which is about 3 or 4 more years. So 6 to 10 years is generally the way we estimate. The which cars? The Maryland cars? So the Maryland cars, I believe, are here. Are they? The Maryland cars are on property yet? No, they're not. I'm sorry?
Next week.
Next week. So Maryland cars will be here next week. Then they have to go through a process before they're cleared to run on the road.
So a timeline will be?
Probably the end of the year. Yeah.
Scott, you have these guys working around the clock for a month and a half. Handle on overtime costs of SEPTA for this.
We are tracking it. I can get you that number. I don't have it with me, but we can provide that number. But it's I mean, it's pretty significant. I mean, we've sunk a lot of time into this process, as you can imagine. You know, more than we had originally budgeted for, and that's also a cost of running older equipment. The capital investment would then in turn offset all the operating costs that we now have to dedicate to this fleet. And that's true of all of our older fleets. So if we can get onto a regular asset replacement schedule, like we should be, then our operating costs presumably would be reduced, which is what everybody wants to see of us. We've been asked that through this whole budget process, is we have to find a way to reduce costs. Well, operating costs increase when you run an older fleet.
Do you expect pre-cancellations to continue into next week?
Well, we are going to, so Monday would be the next time. We're going to meet Sunday as a team and determine what happens on Monday. Pre-cancellations are determined by the overall car count. Remember, I mentioned car count varied from 80 something to about 120. If we're on the high end, we don't have to do the pre-cancellations. If we're on the low end, we do. So as these cars start to come back through the weekend, we'll have to judge by Sunday what happens on Monday.
Any progress with the budget union vote coming up?
I'm sorry?
Speaking of Sunday, now on top of all this, you have a union vote coming up. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean that is a process that the TWU has to take. They have done that. That is just part of the collective bargaining process. They need authorization from their membership should they decide to call for work stoppage. I would say that we're nowhere near a work stoppage at this point. Talks have been productive and ongoing, and there's been no discussion yet of breakdowns to the point where we're talking about a work stoppage.
Any progress on the budget for you guys with the state stalemate ending?
No, I mean, transit was not part of the final resolution, so what we have is what we have. So now they're going to charge ahead with what we've been allotted, which is the capital transfer, but that's not the solution by any means. And we're going to continue to work with legislators as much as possible to try to get in the next one. So the discussions continue.
How are you budget-wise, given all this overtime, having to bring in those cars from Maryland?
Yeah, so despite the work that has happened here, we're actually finding ways to reduce our costs. So we're still ahead of the game. We're finding ways to reduce costs, whereas we had to increase our overtime costs here, we've managed to reduce in other areas. So we're offsetting a little bit. We're also finding ways to increase revenues. We have requests for proposals we're analyzing now for the Ambler redevelopment out there. So we're still finding ways to generate revenue. We're reducing costs where we can. Our budget is really showing we're doing very well so far this year, but we're at the beginning. It's not even halfway through the year yet. We still have winter season coming, so presumably with winter weather that generates a lot of cost. So we have to watch ourselves as we go. But for the first 2 or 3 months, we're doing pretty well.
Scott, you said $2 billion to replace the entire fleet. Contracts with police starting to go around next year. My question is, I guess, where's the money?
So where's the $2 billion coming from? Well, the $2 billion is actually going to be something we're going to pursue a loan through the federal government. So that's really the only place we can go for this funding. We do not have $2 billion in our capital program to dedicate to this fleet. We just cut $1.8 billion from our capital program to start the fiscal year. That was before the capital transfer, and then we transferred $400 million more out of our capital program. So we did not have $2 billion available for this fleet. So we're going to pursue a loan through the federal government, which will add cost to this. So that $2 billion becomes something much higher at the end of the loan cycle.
Have the feds been receptive to offering up that loan?
Yeah, well, I mean, so far, I mean, we're very early in the conversation, but we see this as a really good opportunity for us, and we see no reason why we wouldn't be able to get it.
When it comes to those, like, I don't know a lot about the process of fixing up the Silverliner. Since it's an old fleet, we talked about that. When you're making these repairs, the minor ones, after you've done the major stuff, are you finding you need that parts are hard to come by because it's old? Is that slowing up the process, or do you have all the parts and stuff you need?
Well, we certainly don't have all the parts we need. I mean, it's a struggle to find parts, particularly for old equipment. Our engineering department has re-engineered some of the parts that were necessary over the years. Yes, parts acquisition is a struggle. So far, we've been okay, but we are still trying to find everything that we need. But we're still pretty confident we're going to meet that projection. If things change along the way, then we'll certainly communicate that. But for now, we're on pretty good footing. But parts is always a challenge for us. It could, but we're not projecting that at this point.
What's your message for riders?
Well, the message right now is thank you. Thank you for putting up with us. Thank you for dealing with the challenges that we faced. But The further message is that we promise to never ever put them in harm's way. We're going to put a safe fleet out, and we're going to make it as reliable as we can given the circumstances that we have in front of us. But I can say that the initial anecdotal feedback I've heard from crews who are operating the equipment after all the work that's been done here is they feel like the equipment hasn't run as well as it's running now in many years. So kudos to these guys and ladies that work on this equipment. They are doing yeoman's work and getting stuff out there that even the people who are operating the equipment are seeing a noticeable difference. All right? Thanks, everyone.
Inspection process, you were able to complete about 8 cars a day on average?
I think the final average was about 7, right? Was about 7 a day we were doing? Somewhere around 7.
With the process of having the thermal detection system and the upgrades that you're doing, what does the timeline look like for that? What's the rate of completion?
So the thermal detection wire, I believe, is about a 4-hour job per car. And then the repairs, it varies. It varies on what repair is needed. But as I said, the projections we've shared, up to 5 cars returning a day, is based on all the information we have in our hands right now. So it varies based on the repair. All right. Thank you, everyone.
I'm going to show the thermal